Hello everyone, and welcome back to the homestead. It's late afternoon. I just got back from work. Jackie is actually picking Emma up at her parents' house. Emma went there to hang out for the day while Jackie worked. And I'm coming outside to shoot this video to do two things. One, to kind of show you the present situation of the meat birds, including both the chickens and the turkeys. Show you what we're doing there. Show you the pigs, kind of how they're set up and what we're thinking of doing with them. And then to address a question I get a lot, which is why do you choose the breeds you do and not get into whatever other breed, people may be asking. So I'm gonna go over here, I'm gonna turn the electric fence off. I am going to take you into the pen with the animals, and I'll show you what's going on and we'll do some talking. Just had to run back inside for a second. I forgot that I had left my sneakers on. I haven't switched into boots. We got those on now though. I'm gonna set the camera down over here because I'm not gonna be able to talk to you and get these guys on camera. All right, how's that look? Does it look okay? What do you think? This is our meat flock for spring of 2022. We raise Cornish Crosses, if you can't already tell. Cornish Crosses are a hybrid breed that is bred specifically for meat production. These birds that you see in front of you are about 6 weeks old, and I would say if they were processed tomorrow, they'd probably be about 5 pounds a piece. We are looking to push them probably out to 10 weeks, and we're hoping to get birds in the 7 to 8 pound range processed. These guys went out on pasture probably about a week and a half ago. We have a Suskovich tractor back there that they use for their nighttime shelter, but during the daytime they are out here on the grass. We've got the water, we've got the food, we feed them on the ground. We usually put the food someplace separate from where the water is. That way they have to walk around. You can see these guys are pretty active. I mean, right now they're hanging out. I mean, it's late in the day, so they're probably just a little bit tired, but you'll see, I mean, they are milling about. Some of them are scratching and pecking. We leave the grass long in here for them so that they can eat the seed heads there. This is what we raise. This is what we like to raise. And while we do catch some slack for it here and there, we have our reasons why we do it this way. So the Cornish Crosses we get from McMurray every year, and that's kind of the main gripe that we get about raising Cornish Crosses, is that we can't raise our own. We can't breed our own. Another bird we raise here on the farm that we get from McMurray that we can't breed on our own is our turkeys. Now, we started raising turkeys last year and we really enjoyed it. So we expanded the turkey operation big time this year. By big time, I mean we expanded it 4 times what we did last year. We just kind of went for it. The breeds we went with this year are broad-breasted whites from McMurray and these broad-breasted bronzes that you see also from McMurray. We did the whites last year. They grew out awesome. They processed awesome. Our customers loved them. But I wanted to throw some of these bronze birds in the mix. I like the way they look. I feel like they're a little bit closer to a heritage turkey. They're still a broad-breasted variety. They're not going to breed on their own, but they're a little bit closer to what we see walking around the fields and forests in the area where we live. One of the biggest things we liked about turkeys was their personalities. And as you can see, these guys don't disappoint. They are super friendly. They're really inquisitive. They like to hang out around. They're still not fans of like touching and poking and prodding, but there's one poking the camera right now that, hey, get out of there. Hey, cut it out. They're just full of personality, and when you raise them, I mean, compared to a Cornish Cross chicken, Cornish Crosses, they are what they are. They're meat birds that you're raising for meat, and then that's just kind of how they go. The turkeys, while these are bred for meat, this specific variety, they have all the personality of regular turkeys. They are eating the camera. I don't know if they're going to turn it on or off. They have all the personality of regular turkeys. They strut. They talk to you if you talk to them. You can, call them just like a regular turkey. They're really cool, and we like having them around the farm, and I think we're going to do more of this in the future. There is a time investment in doing turkeys that you don't necessarily have with meat birds. They eat a little bit more, and you're running them in the space of 6 months. You can process them at 4 months, and you know, you'll get a good return on them. You'll get a great roasting bird for Thanksgiving and the like. But we push ours out a little bit longer. We like bigger birds. We like to take the breasts off of them and have that as a meal. We like to take the thighs and legs off. We like to part out our turkeys. But it's nice because the effort to process them is not that much more than a chicken. But you're talking about a bird that's going to yield 20 pounds of meat versus 5 on a Cornish Cross. If you follow the channel, you know if you're a follower of the channel, you know the last of the animals that we raise on the farm for meat are the pigs. Hello everyone, how is everybody doing today? Feisty. The pigs are the largest provider of meat for us on the farm, and they're also the largest provider of profit for us here on the farm when we do the numbers at the end of the year. Selling 8 pigs from this group of 10 is going to provide more profit than selling all of the turkeys and all of the chicken. Well, this is the first year we've done this many turkeys, so I don't know if the turkeys are going to eclipse the pigs. You all right there, boss? But to date, the pigs have been the greatest source of profit for our small farm. Breeds we raise here are Berkshire Duroc crosses. They all come from the same parent stock, even though you see different colors going on. And that's just due to the genetic things that go on when you cross a Berkshire sow with a Duroc boar. All the females are intact and all the males are cut. That does put us in a position where if we wanted to breed from this stock, we couldn't do that. We would have to get an outside male in. If we did want to hold back a female or two to have breeders of our own, we could do that. Now, between the pigs, turkeys, and chickens that we're raising here in our front yard, there are no animals that we could completely self-sufficiently raise in the future and procreate for meat. The Cornish crosses and the broad-breasted turkeys that we have, they cannot naturally reproduce. Cornish crosses, one, because they're hybrids, and any parent stock that bred would produce offspring that didn't breed true. The turkeys would breed true, they're not hybrids, but because of the physical limitations of a broad-breasted turkey's breast muscles, the males cannot mate with the females. The females can mate. If we were to have a heritage breed turkey in there, we could potentially raise our own turkeys, but as of right now, we don't have that. And the pigs, obviously, with the pigs being neutered, the males, there's no procreation going on in that side of things, unless some weird Jurassic Park thing happened. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, I do get asked a lot why we raise the breeds we do for meat. Hey, look who's coming. Just in time to be on camera.
American pools?
Yeah, patriotic.
Oh my god, you couldn't have just got the blue ones?
No, pay the same price. Jackie's talking about the new kiddie pools I bought for the ducks. They have American flags on them. I get asked pretty frequently as a homestead why we choose to raise the breeds we do. Cornish Cross, broad-breasted turkeys, pigs with neutered males. And I'll even admit that from a self-sufficiency standpoint, it doesn't necessarily make sense. In fact, it doesn't make any sense at all. There's no way that we're self-sufficient with those breeds out there. And I will concede 100% that the breeds you see here on the front lawn are not self-sufficient breeds when it comes to home meat production. And then the follow-up question into that is, well, why don't you get into this breed? Why don't you get into that breed? Why don't you raise Bresse chickens, which are a great meat chicken that you can breed yourself? Or why don't you breed heritage turkeys? Or why don't you get Mangalitsa pigs? Or why don't you get Kune Kune pigs? Or why don't you, this, or that, whatever. Here's the reason why. Right now, we can get these. And if you're looking to maximize your profitability and maximize the amount of food that you can produce, you're not going to beat a Cornish Cross. Their feed conversion is better than anything. I don't care what Bresse chicken you raise. And let's just get honest, and the Bresse chicken people are going to hate me for this. To get a Bresse chicken to put up a high feed conversion number, yeah, you're raising it out on pasture some, but then you're locking it in a cage and feeding it milk and corn. How is that different than factory farming, even if you're doing it on a small scale? There is a pretty famous YouTuber who's actually a buddy of mine that has ragged on the Cornish Cross before, and I just don't agree with them on it. A lot of people will make the comment that they're Franken chickens or they're genetically engineered or they live terrible lives because they grow so quickly, it's unethical. And the truth of the matter is, the chickens that you see behind me lounging in the grass like soft white pillows of future deliciousness, they're living a pretty damn good life. Picking at grass, scratching around, eating ants. They don't know any better, they don't know any worse. But even looking at them here, they're not the same Cornish Cross chicken that you're going to get from the grocery store that's been raised in a cage its whole life. The Cornish Cross are about 3 to 4 weeks out from processing. The turkeys will be done the weekend before Thanksgiving, and then the pigs are going to be at the beginning of November. November 5th, I think, is their date this year. Food shortages aside, if I can get broad-breasted white turkeys that provide me more meat for less feed, if I can get Cornish Cross chickens that grow out in 8 weeks and have better feed conversion than other breeds, if I can raise a Berkshire Duroc cross that grows out in 8 months and has perfectly good meat instead of taking 2 years to grow out or 18 months like some of the other designer breeds like Kune Kunes and Mangalitsas and things like that. Designer breed, maybe not the right word. Trendy breeds in the market right now. You know, let's be honest. Bresse chickens, like artisan breed turkeys, and Kune Kunes and Idaho pasture pigs and Mangalitsas, they're all hip and trendy breeds that come into this homesteading and small farm community. They stick around for a few years because of some crazy statements made on the marketing of the animals. You know, Mangalitsa, the Kobe of pork. It's not. It's good pork, but you're going to raise an animal out for 2 years to get a lot of fat and some really small pork chops that taste great, but I get some cuts out of a Berkshire Duroc Cross that are just as tender and juicy without having to wait 2 years. Actually, hang on. I just saw another thing that I can cut, another parallel kind of draw here. These are walking onions right here. And these are a perennial variety of onion that instead of flowers and seeds, sends off these tiny little onion bulbules that when the onion at the end of the season falls over, they reseed the onion. They put more onions out. The onion that those grow is not the most flavorful. It's not the most pretty. It's kind of oblong. But compared to the onions that were grown in the backyard, which came from a farm where we ordered onion starts and planted them, I'll link that video up here in the corner, these are about as hands-off as you can get. I'm building a raised bed for them, a little 4 foot by 4 foot area. I'm gonna plant them in there and I'm just gonna let them take over. And when I need an onion, I'll go out, I'll pull one out of the ground, bring it inside, cook it, and go from there. As far as onions for a prepping situation, those are a good way to go because you don't have to worry about planting from seed. You don't have to worry about growing seasons. You don't have to worry about even storing them. You've always got them. They're in the ground. Similar to what we're doing with those walking onions, we've got something with the chickens that's kind of the same idea. Jackie's filling up the kiddie pool for the ducklings. It'll be their first time ever having a full-size kiddie pool. If you look around our chicken yard, it might just look like a ragtag bunch of different breeds of chickens that are out here. We've actually taken, though, a kind of strategic look at what breeds we have for chickens and where they fit into the overall sustainability of our farm. We keep one rooster in our chicken flock. His name is Murph, and he is a Buff Orpington cross with his dad was a Welsummer and Cuckoo Moran's cross. So he's half Buff Orpington, and then he's got those other two breeds in him. All of those breeds were fairly heavy-bodied birds, and as such, Murph is a good-sized rooster. A conscious decision we've made in our flock is at any one time we've got a good mix of other heavy-bodied birds in there, whether they're Buff Orpingtons, whether they're Barred Rocks, these Mystic Morans, which is a cross between a Barred Rock and a Black Copper Morans. We have a selection of hens in our flock that are heavy-bodied because if we needed to raise our own chicks for meat, we could isolate those heavy-bodied birds, put them in with Murph, our rooster, and hatch chicks that we knew were going to be big birds compared to you know, some other egg layers like Easter eggers and leghorns and things like that. So while the breeds we raise might not be the hippest, trendiest, you know, kind of like hot thing right now, they're good solid breeds that for as long as we can order them, they're great for producing meat, and they're the number one choice for us, especially in a small farm situation where we're selling them and we need to maximize our inputs to draw profit out of it. From the homesteading standpoint, we are doing what we can with heritage breeds to keep us fed if there's a shortage of those other breeds that we currently raise for meat. We have breeding stock of heavy-bodied chickens that can kind of carry us through. If we needed to hold a pig back and get a boar in here, we probably could. We don't do those sort of things right now because we're trying to maximize profits from the farm, but from a homesteading standpoint, they are things that we could shift to if we had to feed ourselves. So that's how we're doing it. If you want to raise only heritage breeds as your prime source of meat, go for it. But for us, because we're selling, we choose to sprinkle in those fast-growing, more commercialized, I don't like that word, but that's the word I'll use, those more commercialized varieties until we get to a point where we can't. And if we hit that point, then we'll make do with what we have. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you're not subscribed and you want to see more of what we're doing, head down below, click that subscribe button. If you're interested in supporting our channel on a more direct basis, we have a Patreon link down in the description as well, where you can get some cool stuff from the farm for a monthly pledge. Otherwise, as always, thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye.